Welcome to Mognable, where we serve you with authentic news, stories, documentaries, updates, and Martin-style insights on our society and the larger world. And more importantly, about places that fall under the radar of the mainstream media machinery. We invite you to embark on this exciting journey of enlightenment with us. Mognable, your vehicle of enlightenment. Just over a mile from the busy city of San Francisco sits a small rocky island, windy, lonely, and full of mystery. This is Alcatraz. Most people know it as The Rock, and for many years, it was home to one of the most feared prisons in America. Surrounded by cold, strong waters and powerful waves, Alcatraz looks like a tough island that refuses to let people in or out. Fog often covers it like a blanket, adding to its chilling presence. The cries of seagulls and the sound of waves crashing against the rocks give the place a haunting feel. But there is more to Alcatraz than just concrete walls and steel bars. It was a place built to break the strongest of men. If you ended up on Alcatraz, it meant you were seen as too dangerous or too difficult to be kept anywhere else. The rules were strict, the days were long, and the hope of escape was nearly impossible. What made it even harder was how close freedom seemed. On clear days, prisoners could see the tall buildings of San Francisco and hear the sounds of live cars honking, people laughing, music playing. That made the pain worse, because freedom was so near yet so far. Over the years, Alcatraz became more than just a prison. It became a symbol of control, fear, and silence. Yet within its harsh conditions were also stories of hope, strength, and change. Today, Alcatraz is no longer a prison, but the stories it holds still live on in its empty cells and quiet hallways. This documentary looks at the real history of Alcatraz, the people, the struggles, and the truth behind the legend. In the 1850s, Alcatraz started as a military base. By 1909, it became a military prison, but in 1934, it was turned into a maximum security federal prison. It was made to hold the most dangerous and difficult prisoners, people who caused trouble in other prisons. Before Alcatraz became the prison that frightened even the toughest criminals, it had a very different life. The story of Alcatraz begins long before bars, cells, and escape attempts. It started with nature and then with war. The first people to take notice of the island were Native American tribes, especially the Olen people. Some say they avoided the island, believing it to be cursed or filled with bad spirits. Others may have used it as a place for gathering or isolation. But the real transformation came when outsiders arrived. In 1775, Spanish explorer Juan Manuel de Ayala sailed into San Francisco Bay and charted the island. He called it La Isla de los Alcatrazes, or Island of the Pelicans, due to the large number of seabirds nesting there. The name stuck, eventually becoming Alcatraz. Fast forward to the mid-18s, California became part of the United States and the US government began looking at the island with military interest. They saw a strategic stronghold in the middle of the bay, perfect for watching over San Francisco's growing harbor. In 1850, President Millard Fillmore officially set the land aside for military use. By 1853, we had begun to build a military fortress. A lighthouse was constructed, the very first on the Pacific coast, to guide ships safely into the bay. Soon after, heavy cannons and thick walls turned the island into a powerful defense post. Fort Alcatraz was born. Not long after, the island began to serve another purpose: punishment. During the American Civil War, it held Confederates, sympathizers, and other prisoners. As the years passed, its role as a military prison grew. Soldiers who broke military laws or committed serious crimes were sent there. The conditions were tough, but the location made it almost impossible to escape. By the early 19s, the military prison was expanded. New buildings were added, including the large cell house that still stands today. But even as the walls grew stronger, the army found it hard to keep up with the island's cost and needs. In 1933, the US Army handed Alcatraz over to the Department of Justice. The government wanted a high-security prison for the worst criminals in the federal system, people who had escaped from or caused problems in other prisons. The location, already isolated and secure, was perfect. After a year of renovations to make it even tougher, Alcatraz reopened in 1934 as a federal penitentiary. From that moment, it became known as the least stop for men who had run out of second chances. The rocky guests' escape attempts. The rocky gets tested, though Alcatraz was said to be escape-proof. That did not stop inmates from trying. Over the years, there were 14 known escape attempts involving 36 prisoners. Most were caught. Some were shot and others drowned in the icy waters of the bay. One of the most daring escapes happened in 1962. 3 inmates, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, managed to dig through the walls of their cells using spoons and other makeshift tools. They created lifelike dummy heads to fool the guards during bed checks and crawled through high utility corridors to reach the roof. From there, they climbed down and slipped into the water using a homemade raft made from raincoats. By morning, they were gone. The FBI launched a massive search, but never found them. Some believe they drowned, others think they made it to freedom. In recent years, there have been possible sightings and letters suggesting that at least one of them survived. But officially, the case remains unsolved. Closing the doors for good. By the 1960s, Alcatraz was falling apart. The buildings were old and the cost of maintaining the prison was extremely high. It cost over $10 per day to house each inmate, more than 3 times the cost at other prisons. Saltwater had corroded much of the structure, and the isolated location made repairs difficult and expensive. Also, by this time, the prison system had started to change. Officials were rethinking harsh punishments and focusing more on rehabilitation. Alcatraz, with its old cells and strict rules, didn't fit the new direction. In 1963, the US government finally shut it down. The last group of inmates left the island on March 21, 1963. After 29 years of operation, Alcatraz had held some of the most dangerous men in American history, but not even the rock could withstand the tides of change. Even after its closure, Alcatraz never faded from public memory. If anything, it became even more famous. The stories of gangsters, strict rules, and daring escapes captured the imagination of people around the world. Hollywood took notice, and Alcatraz appeared in countless movies, including classics like Escape from Alcatraz starring Clint Eastwood, and the action-packed The Rock featuring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. These films helped shape the public's view of the prison as a mysterious and almost mythical place, a fortress surrounded by freezing waters where only the boldest would dare to try escaping. Books, documentaries, podcasts, and television shows have explored the stories behind the walls of Alcatraz. Some dive deep into the lives of the inmates, while others focus on the guards and their families who lived on the island. Many of these personal stories add rich layers to the legend, reminding us that Alcatraz wasn't just a place of punishment. It was also a home, a workplace, and for some, a battleground for survival. What truly sets Alcatraz apart in popular culture and the ongoing mystery surrounding some of its most famous events, especially the 1962 escape. The public remains fascinated with the idea that Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers might have survived. That lingering question, did they make it, has fueled everything from documentaries to speculative articles. Every few years, new claims or evidence emerged, keeping the legend alive. But Alcatraz's legacy is not just about crime and punishment. In 1969, a group of Native American activists known as the Indians of all tribes took over the island and abhorred protests. They claimed it as native land and occupied it for 19 months, demanding the US government honor treaties and improve conditions for indigenous people. The peaceful resistance brought national attention to Native American issues and became a powerful moment in civil rights history. The occupation left a permanent mark on the island, with graffiti from the movement still visible today. Today, Alcatraz is a major tourist attraction, drawing over 1 million visitors each year. Managed by the National Park Service, the island has been transformed into a historical site and museum. Visitors can walk through the cold, narrow cell blocks, stand in the exercise yard, and look across the bay at the San Francisco skyline, just like the prisoners once did. Audio tours feature real voices of former inmates and guards, offering a gripping, first-hand experience of life inside. Special exhibits cover everything from the native occupation to daily prison routines and infamous escape plots. Some areas are perceived just as they were in the 1960s, while others include displays of artifacts like inmate tools, uniforms, and letters. Alcatraz has come full circle. From a place of isolation and punishment to a powerful reminder of human resilience, justice, and change. It continues to educate, inspire, and captivate, showing how even the most forbidden places can find new meaning in the eyes of history. As of May 2025, Alcatraz Island has become the focal point of a contentious proposal by President Donald Trump of the United States of America to reopen the historic prison facility. This initiative has sparked widespread debate among experts, local officials, and the public. Trump announced plans to direct the Federal Bureau of Prisons to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz Island as a federal prison for housing America's most dangerous criminals. He described the move as a symbol of law and order, aiming to isolate America's most ruthless and violent offenders on the island once again. The proposal has faced significant criticism from various quarters. Experts argue that restoring the island's outdated infrastructure would be extremely expensive and inefficient compared to mainland facilities. The prison's remote location and decayed infrastructure would likely require millions in restoration, not including ongoing costs. Reopening Alcatraz would require significant regulatory approvals, particularly under the California Environmental Quality Act, which mandates assessments for projects impacting historical and environmental resources. Native American veterans of the 1969 Alcatraz occupation have strongly criticized the proposal, viewing it as a threat to the site's historical and cultural significance. They argue that the move could erase progress made in recognizing indigenous rights and history. While the proposal has been announced, it remains in the preliminary stages. The Bureau of Prisons has been directed to assess the feasibility of the project, but no concrete steps have been taken toward reconstruction. Given the significant logistical, financial, and political challenges, the future of this proposal remains uncertain. While the proposal remains in its early stages, with feasibility studies underway, the future of Alcatraz as a federal prison is uncertain. The island continues to serve as a poignant reminder of America's complex history, balancing its past as a notorious penitentiary with its current role as a site of education, reflection, and cultural significance. The journey to Alcatraz begins with a ferry ride from Pier 33 located along San Francisco's waterfront. The ferry ride itself is an experience of spectacular views of the bay, landmarks such as the Golden Gate Bridge, Angel Island, and the city's skyline. The ferry trip provides a brief but scenic preview of what awaits visitors on the island, and the boat ride across the water sets the tone for what's to come. A blend of history, natural beauty, and the chilling remnants of Alcatraz past. Ferries run regularly throughout the day, especially during peak tourist seasons. Visitors are encouraged to arrive early to ensure they can catch the ferry at their desired time. The ferry ride takes about 15 minutes, and once on the island, guests are greeted by a stunning view of the prison and its surroundings. Some of the tour highlights include the cell house. The cell house is the main building where prisoners were housed. Visitors can peer into the cells, each telling a story of its own. The solitary confinement wing, a dark, narrow section where prisoners who violated the rules were placed in isolation. The experience is somber and reflective, allowing visitors to understand the harsh reality of solitary confinement. The warden's office, a glimpse into the administrative side of Alcatraz, where decisions about life and death were made for the prisoners. The dining hall, where prisoners were served with meals, offering insight into the daily routines that defined life on the island. The audio tour is designed to be interactive, with visitors pausing at specific locations to learn more about each area's role in the prison's history. The sound of clinking gates, cell doors slamming shut, and the voices of inmates and guards adds to the authenticity of the experience. Let's talk about the gardens and natural features of Alcatraz. While Alcatraz is primarily known for its prison, the island's natural beauty also plays a significant role in the visitor experience. Alcatraz is home to large gardens, a variety of wildlife, and breathtaking views of the bay, making it a scenic destination as well as a historic site. One of the most surprising aspects of Alcatraz is its gardens. Over the years, a team of volunteers and National Park Service staff have worked to restore the island's once evergreen gardens, which were first cultivated by the prison staff and their families. Today, The gardens are tranquil oases of flowers, plants, and cacti, offering visitors a peaceful contrast to the somber history of the prison. The gardens are also home to a variety of wildlife, including migratory birds that use the island as a resting spot. The island serves as a sanctuary for species such as the western gull, pigeon guillemots, and Brand's cormorants. Birdwatchers and nature enthusiasts can enjoy spotting these creatures while walking along the parts of the island. Additionally, the stunning panoramic views of Alcatraz provide a breathtaking backdrop to the tour. Visitors can look out across the bay to the Golden Gate Bridge, the San Francisco skyline, and the marine headlands, making for memorable photo opportunities. Night tours, a different perspective. For those looking to experience Alcatraz in a unique way, the night tour is an exceptional option. The evening tours provide a different atmosphere compared to the daytime visits, with fewer visitors, cooler temperatures, and a more atmospheric experience. The island takes on a more airy and mysterious ambience after dark, offering a glimpse into the isolation and fear that prisoners must have felt in the night. Native American occupation, a powerful exhibit dedicated to the 1969 to 1971 occupation of Alcatraz by Native American activists. This exhibit sheds light on the historical significance of the occupation and its impact on Native American rights. Prisoner letters and personal accounts, a collection of personal letters, photos, and documents that provide a deeper understanding of life on the island from the perspective of prisoners and guards. The combination of history, culture, natural beauty, and educational programming makes it a must-visit destination for anyone traveling to San Francisco. As one of America's most visited national parks, Alcatraz continues to educate, challenge, and inspire visitors with its rich and diverse history, from the chilling sounds of its cell house to peaceful beauty of its gardens. Alcatraz Island remains an unforgettable experience for all who visit. Thanks for watching us today and for joining us on a journey of enlightenment. Mobile, your vehicle of enlightenment.